Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 37, the first episode of 2021 of the Drunken Under Quarantine Show, presented to you by Woolen Comedy Club. And we're very, very excited to have you here. And we are here live tonight on the show. We've got G-Dubs with us. We've got Collen with us. And tonight we bring a very good friend of ours that we haven't really caught up with since high school, Collen and I. And he just met GW earlier. We're welcoming Kris Hayes to the show, which should be great. We're going to catch up with him and see how Corona time has been treating him. We got some fun subjects tonight. We're going to talk about New Year's and the resolutions that we have already broken. We're going to talk about a Facebook group that got pulled from Facebook. We're going to talk about a lady on Twitch who thought she was streaming to her OnlyFans, but was actually streaming to a bunch of teenage kids on Twitch, because that's who uses Twitch. We're going to talk about our hopes and dreams for 2021. And lastly, we're going to talk about this little wild story about a Christmas tree. A very important story about a Christmas tree in a hospital that may have been a super spreader event. Anyways, without further ado, we'll keep this show on the road. And without further ado, I will introduce, welcoming to the spotlight stage, Mr. GW Folk.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? It's been a hell of a week since our last show. New Year's happened, and I didn't stay up for it. I said, fuck it. This is, if shit happens at midnight, I don't want to be awake for it. Like, I'm just assuming that, I would be the guy sleeping in his bunk in the Death Star when the rebels come to blow it up. Like, I would be like hearing the sirens go off and just be like, oh, screw this. This is too much for me. I'm just gonna take a nap. Yeah, like I don't get the big deal about celebrating New Year's anyways. Like, it's just a date in the calendar. Nothing really. It's not like the spring equinox makes more sense to celebrate, because then you're waiting for, like, I don't know, boobies to show up. like that's why like St. Patrick's Day for me is the real, should be the start of the new year, because spring is sprung and the bunnies come out and the titties come out. Not that I can look at titties anymore because I got a wife. But back when I was a young guy, that was what I really waited for. Like, screw this whole New Year's and oh, you have to be up and kiss someone at midnight at New Year's. Yeah, I tried that once, and the person was asleep, and I got punched. In a non-rapey way. It wasn't like oh, hey, she's passed out, let me give her a kiss. It was my wife who was asleep. I'm like, oh, Happy New Year's, hun, and went to give her a peck on the cheek, and she just clocked me. Straight right. I didn't even get a chance to put my dukes up. She just smacked me. I saw something really bizarre today, and I'm still trying to process it. I was driving down Route 7, and there was a woman going 20 miles per hour in a Mini Cooper, and that Mini Cooper was convertible. And you're going, oh, okay, so it's convertible. But she had the top down. and I'm like, you're probably cold. That's why you're going 20 miles per hour, because you don't want the wind going in. But if you put the top on, you could go much faster. and I pulled up next to her, and she had the windows down and her music cranked, and I lit up a cigarette, and she gave me the nastiest look. And I'm like, once again, this will have all been solved with you having a fucking roof on your car. You wouldn't have to deal with my nicotine habit. But no. Oh, and the worst part is, she was bundled up. It wasn't like she was just wearing a sweatshirt in her car with the heat on. It was, no, she had her winter jacket, her winter gloves, the weird earmuff thing where It's like the band that goes around her head, sunglasses, like she's gonna go on a bunny trail soon. And I'm just sitting there going like, what the fuck is wrong with you, woman? I don't like I don't often judge people on the decisions they make, but this was one where I was just like, you're a fucking retard. And I mean that lovingly. Like you literally slowed down progress. Like in the full extent of the word. Like I'm not picking on handicapped kids. Like they're genuine, they're smart. You are fucking stupid. It was the dumbest thing. And I wanted to follow her just to see where she was going. But then I figured that's probably a crime and I probably shouldn't be doing that. All right, that's it for my time. That was my week in review. I believe we're going to Collen next if everything is correct.
Yes, we are.
All right.
I mean, everything's correct, GW. Why would everything not be correct?
It's just a guess.
You are on the Drunk and Under Quarantine show. Everything's always correct here. Even when we're wrong, we're right, you know? I have to say, this week's big news seems to be the phone call that Mr. Donald Trump made to the Secretary of State of Georgia. I really enjoyed that because, you know, Donald Trump is just the master of just like New York negotiations, you know, calls him up and he's just like, look, it would be really great if you could find, I'm just throwing a number out there. It could be any number at all. 11,781 votes. You can get those votes. I mean, it could be more than those. It could be more. That would be great. And the guy's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can find 12,000 votes. And I love like this Donald Trump's logic. He's like, look, it's not a big thing. You just say, look, I was putting away my seasonal clothes. I had shorts and capris, and I was going through the boxes, and lo and behold, 12,000 votes. And you know who they work for? They work for Biden. And like, I don't know if that would work. And Trump's just like undeterred. He's like, right. Okay, so listen, how about Damani? I hear that they are taking things out. They're putting things where they weren't. Have you heard anything about this? Like, no, I haven't heard anything about that. Okay, what about I heard another one. Here's one for you. You might be able to take this in a minute. It's just like on and on. So I don't know. We'll see how we'll see how that one goes. I love the optimism, though. I just love that you know Donald Trump's not going to leave another. It's like, look, what happens if we just say, look, we had a lot of votes, a lot of them went up in flames, and we don't know who they voted for. So, I think it's funny. I'm actually in SPO right now, and looking for a place to go to dinner. And there's really nowhere to go to dinner because, and quote, everyone had such a tough week. All the restaurants here had such a rough week. They need to take the time off, and they just had a really tough 8 to 10 days. To which I have to say, what have you been doing for the last 8 to 10 months? It's like you can't come out with like, look, it's been a brutal week catering to 25% occupancy. Okay, this has not been an easy week. In fact, I had to work for 8 continuous days through the holidays, and now like Vermont has folded up shop. No one's open this week in Vermont because hey, we just had to work from the 24th to the 1st. Okay. All right. Slow down. Like so many people still want to go out to dinner right now. People are trying. It's like you missed it. If you were not here for the 8 days we were working in Vermont, I'm sorry. It's over. You missed it. I'm looking forward to John Mulaney's next comedy special. I imagine it's going to sound something like, "So I said to him, $10,000 for cocaine? Huh, what do you think? I'm drunk, sir?" Something like that. I'm still working that. Something like John Mulaney said to the guy, $10,000 for cocaine. What am I, drunk? Well, maybe John Mulaney. maybe you were. So a thing interesting. They're making people, more and more define their pronouns. And so I have to say I'm a Collen, I'm a him, or a they, or whatever I go by. And what's funny is I can't wait to see how Italian Americans try to adjust to this, where people are "Excuse me, sir, define yourself." What do you mean define myself? Your pronoun. My pronoun? I said for a pronoun. I'm a never was. You know what I'm saying? Give you my pronoun. Do you guys have any friends that call you only through Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
It's like you can't really get a hold of them. It's via Facebook Messenger, which that's all well and good. What I don't understand is the friends that call me through Facebook Messenger while they have a cell phone. I get that if you're from a computer, you don't have a phone or you don't have, but I have friends that'll have an iPhone that's just calling me through Facebook Messenger. It's just call me. It don't why use Facebook? Not so much a joke as it is an observation. Which, if you're not keen on observations, I would say look out for our next performer, because he's the reason we come here every week, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, Hickory, the Drunk and Underwoman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. Kris, welcome. We're going to do a little piece of magic here. I figured to break in the new year, we would do one of my favorites, just a standard pack of cards. And then we're going to do a cool little packet trick that's going to be my redemption for 2020. Because I have this really great Halloween piece that I really like to perform. And I actually, just before we went into the second lockdown, I actually got to perform it out live. And I made a really bad call. And I hope she isn't watching or angry, but the person I picked was a wet blanket as far as, the feelings of magic went. And
oh, no, you'll get that sometime.
Oh, yeah, it was very much like having a heckler who didn't think they were heckling. So we're just going to do a straight little standard. This is one of my favorites. And I'm just going to riffle through the pack, Kris, and I'm going to have you say stop, and we're going to select a card.
Perfect. Right there, Hickory. Yeah, right there.
That one? Okay.
That one. Yes.
Look at that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and place it in the middle of the deck where there's no possible way that I would have done any funny, sorry, still figuring out my angle, figuring any funny business that I might have done. But the truth is, Kris, that I know what your card is. And the trick is that as a magician, you have to have a trained eye. And it's this one, because this one's got a little bit of astigmatism and it's kind of off. But if you know what to look for and you just kind of look through here, your card, I don't know if that card would stick out like a sore thumb to you guys. Oh. But as a trained magician, I can't help but say that was Kris's card was the Ace of Spades. So we're just going to stick your Ace of Spades right there and make sure there's no funny business going on. And yeah, we're just going to give her a little shuffle, and I'm going to go through, and I'm going to have you select another card. And we're going to see if we can make lightning strike twice, my friend.
Let's see. Right there.
Okay, right there. Oh, I lost my card.
Uh-oh.
Okay. A 3. We're going fairly into the middle of the deck. Can't be losing cards now. It'd be awful. So we're going to try this again. And basically, I'm going to look through the deck. We're going to find the blue card. It's going to be yours this time. Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. All right, well, you can't win every card trick, but oh yeah. That's right though. I remember because I have a screen to look at that there was only one blue card in the deck. And it was Chris's 3 of spades.
Love it.
Oh, thank you. That's fun. Okay, so we're going to try it. This is going to be my magic redemption trick. And inside this envelope, there's a very special story. This is a story about, and I want to do this with you, Kris, because we grew up in New England, which is a beautiful place to be raised. And this is a story from the 1800s about back in the day when there was an animal, right, that was killing all these other farm animals in the fields and stuff, and people couldn't figure out what it was, and everybody was all upset. And the local town villagers had this theory that there was only 6 possible creatures that could be responsible for such a feat, right? And they assumed it could have been a mummy. Mm-hmm. They wondered if it were a ghost. They were thinking it could have been an alien. It could have been a vampire. It could have been a werewolf, or it could have been the Squatch. So with that said, Kris, I know that you haven't heard this story, but I felt like growing up together, we had this really great connection. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have you to start, since there's 6 selections and that's way too much. It would take far too long. We're going to have you start with odds or evens, and we're just going to go from my left to my right. And we're going to keep either the odd or the even cards, depending on which you selected.
Let's keep the odds.
Okay. So from my left to right here, can't really. We got a Sasquatch. We got a vampire. We have a ghost. Right, so we are left with a Sasquatch, a vampire, and a ghost. So of these 3, Kris, I'm gonna step far out on a limb here, and I've been wrong because I am an awful magician when it comes to mentalism. If I was going to guess that you had to choose one of these that was not the culprit, my guess, my friend, would have been that you would have said the ghost was not responsible.
Yeah, I would have said the ghost was not responsible.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Hickory's got it. He's getting better at the mentalism as we go. So that leaves us with 2 creatures. 1800s. Animals in the fields just bled dry, and these people it was down to 2 creatures, and I haven't shared anything about this with you before, right, Kris? This is the first time I'm ever, and I dropped an envelope to you.
This is new to me.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure that I'm being fair, and that there was no pre-working out of anything, because I want you to reveal which of the 2 creatures you in fact thought was the culprit, Kris. Okay.
I think it was a Sasquatch.
You thought it was the Sasquatch. So the vampire goes away. Now, my friend, I said this envelope was a very, very special, important envelope. And you, my friend, were completely correct.
Yes.
You were right, my friend. The Sasquatch did it. Thank you so much, sir. That was fun. And that is redemption for 2020. I feel way better about going into 2021 now. And that's pretty much my bit. But without further ado, we are going to bring on our guest. Thank you for joining us, sir. It's very nice to have not a comic or a performer of the speaking role, but more of the behind an instrument shredding it up role. We've had I don't want to say we've had too many comics, because you can never have enough comics on the Drunken Under Quarantine show, but it is nice to spice it up and have somebody who who stands behind a microphone but doesn't tell jokes. He just shreds the hell out of a guitar. So please welcome to our spotlight stage, Mr. Kris Hayes.
Yeah, Hickory, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here, sir.
I wasn't 100% sure which way to go with this because I, viewed some of these and I'm like, like everybody's a comic, everybody's funny. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. So perhaps it might make sense for me just to show you guys show everybody kind of what I do. So I texted my longtime cohort and one of my best friends and guy I've played music with for over 15 years now. His name's Pat King, and we play in this sort of I would call it a collective almost more than a band. You'll see why in a second.
Nice.
Called Labrador. And I was like, hey, Pat, like, do you have any videos of us doing our thing, pre-lockdown? And he was like, I don't know. Let me see. And of course, his wife saved the day. She had videos. So
nice.
She looked it up. So I'm just going to show you guys kind of what I do. And let me make sure that we're screen sharing.
I say make sure you're sharing audio. That would be important.
I was gonna say, yeah, hopefully it does. I just have to give it permission. Okay, let's see if this is are you seeing? Let me see. Here we go. Are you seeing my screen or no?
No, let me try it. Nope, in that view we are not either. Let's
see. Share your entire screen. Oh, I think I might know why. Hang tight. I have to give access. That's why.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And like I said to GW earlier tonight, this is the Drunken Under Quarantine show. Everything always works perfectly and flawlessly.
This is all abide plan.
And this is how we work out IT right here.
So get this. I can't share the screen until I quit Chrome. So we're not going to do that.
Oh, bummer.
Because that would be a real drag. So I'll just tell you a couple of fun tour stories from my days. I toured like extensively for about 4 years straight. And I'll start with this one. So we were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is like actually a surprisingly nice place to be. I had my reservations, but it's a great town. And we played a show, and my tour manager, I was like talking to some people who I met who came to the show, and my tour manager, Tucker, came up to me and was like, yo, Kris, there's somebody at the merch table who wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Let me just finish up with these guys and I'll be there. And he's like, yeah, you should finish up quickly. You should come to the merch table. I'm like, okay. So I go to the merch table, and this very handsome fellow sticks his hand out and shakes my hand and says, hey, Kris, I'm Kris. Really nice to meet you. Huge fan of the band. Rattles off like a bunch of songs. Like, I really like this song. I like this song. Like, I love the EP you guys just did. And I was literally just like, yeah, Kris, I know, man. And it was Chris Carrabba of Dashboard Confessional, which was
that's awesome.
So wild, because it's just like, that's not someone you don't think of like people of that stature or like avid listeners, right? And he listened to music and listened to it critically, and that was really cool. And what was great was we did South by Southwest the following year, and I bumped into him on the street, because that's what South by in Austin is like. You literally just, everybody's just scrambling to try and get to your little showcase slot, as you guys, I'm sure, are well aware of how that gig goes. And ran into him on the street. He remembered me, remembered my name, asked me how I was doing, blah, blah, blah. So that was a great experience.
That's crazy.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just, that's a great one. And then the other one I'll share with you guys, which might be a little more up your alley, is the first U.S. tour I ever did. We were playing in San Antonio, Texas, which is a wild town. It's a great town, but it's a wild town. And there were a couple of inebriated patrons at the show. and they started launching beer bottles and mixed drinks in glasses at us while we were playing. So my the singer of the band also played guitar, dropped his guitar and went beeline for these guys, and I was like, oh shit, oh no, like this is bad. This is how, you know, New York band, you know, gets the end of the line. Yep. And so you know, he threw his guitar down. I play a Les Paul a lot of the times, and a Les Paul weighs typically between like 9 and 11 pounds. So it's like a solid piece of wood. So my initial thought was, I'm just going to unplug my Les Paul and grab it by its neck and go after these guys. And I'm thinking, right, like this is my moment of heroics, right? Like we're gonna save the day. Well, it turns out the whole bar rallied behind us, the tourists, right, the out-of-towners, and went after these guys. And people started picking up bar stools and pool. I mean, it was like straight up out of a movie. And I was just like literally standing there, like with the guitar in my hand. My jaw just dropped just watching this unfold. And I'm just like, dude, how did, like a year before this, I was in a recording studio and I lost the recording studio because of that recession. This is now recession 2 of my lifetime. Yep. Right? And I'm just like, how, you know, when it like takes a lot longer to say something than it does to think it like while it's happening, I'm just like, how did my life get to this point? And sure enough, man, everybody chased him out of the bar and we played the rest of the set and it went amazing. And then we played a second set because they loved us so much. So
that's awesome.
Those are a couple of weird tour stories for you guys.
Thank you for sharing, sir. And thank you for being on the show. Oh, I got to do a little mix around here. Yeah, we're figuring. Oh, look at that. We're figuring out the tech on the fly. Kris, thank you for joining us. The first episode of the Drunken Under Quarantine show of 2021. We're not going to call it season 2 yet because that'll come back in April, and so we'll get to season 2. I'm just shocked we made it 37 episodes. We were joking, and I'll let you in on this, Kris, is that we were joking by episode 4 or 5 that we're going to have to change the name of the show because the quarantines are going to be over soon. And we were sorely mistaken.
My friend.
Nope.
No time soon. And I'm assuming the outdoor dining in Vermont is kind of a tough gig this time of the year as well.
Yeah, it's about as tough as it is in like I guess anywhere in the Northeast, New York City. There's a lot of great memes popping around though.
Well, like people say it's always easier to play in front of a cold crowd, and let me tell you right now, you're not going to get any colder than Vermont right now. Yeah, we got a little al fresco comedy show for you.
That's right.
Unfortunately, gentlemen, something's come up, and I'm gonna have to jump out from tonight's show. And I'm hoping that I'm not gonna screw up the graphics.
Oh, it's all right. I can.
And if not, maybe Kris can double for us. But
I'll do my best. It's tough, big shoes to fill, Collen.
Hey, I believe in you. Great to see you on the show, man. And I want to say this is 2020, 2021. It's great to bring in a show with Kris because we go way back, and it's everything goes full circle. So it's great to see you always doing well. My New York brother, my touring brother from Vermont. So great to see you, my man. And
mutual, my friend. You too.
I will talk to you soon.
Have a good night, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you next week on the show. I am just hammering out a graphic real quick. Don't mind me.
This is pretty good on the fly. This thing's smooth, man.
I'm getting better at it. I'm just going to run out of names. Is going to be my issue. It's not the actual doing it. It's that I'm going to run out of names to name the files.
Apparently, the lovely assistant.
Yeah, look at that. We're on a new graphic. Okay, so moving right in. Let's get a quick way in. Catch up with Kris. We just learned you've moved. Kris is no longer a New York City resident. Bless your heart. Thank you for not being down there through this whole shit show of a year.
I live in Asheville North Carolina now, and you know, my plan was to move here this past summer, but the pandemic expedited those plans, and I had to make a call on the fly, as you guys do. And I literally packed a guitar and packed a bag and packed my iPad so I could teach remotely and hit the road. And I only came back to New York for 1 week to move stuff out of my apartment. That was it. So
nice. So you've been safe down there. How big is Asheville? Is it a metropolitan area?
I mean, it's considered a city here, but it's, I mean,
well, yeah, but Rutland's considered a city here, sir.
I'm trying to remember yeah, I mean, you could, I'd say maybe you could, it's bigger than Rutland's, but like, what's the population in Rutland, by the way? Do you guys know?
I should, but I don't.
Do you live in Rutland, GW?
I do.
Okay.
I literally, so for our audience, Kris and I have a mutual friend named Nick Grandchamp, and I literally live right down the street from Nick.
Oh, amazing.
Like we could walk to his house from my place. And
so Nick, if you're out there watching,
yes,
thank you for keeping punk rock alive for all of us.
Miss you, Nick.
Because nobody else is.
Yeah.
I felt like all my friends were punk kids until they graduated, and then it was like we all went to high school and became adults. Unfortunately, that happens. I remember when I was a kid, my mom said, "Hickory, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a magician." And she said, "Nonsense! You can't do both." So I am very much enjoying my childhood as a magician. It's been great.
That's it.
Let's talk about New Year's real quick. Usually a major holiday where lots are going on. Lots of people are celebrating and doing stuff. And I found this year, fortunately, none of my friends were having crazy illegal parties or doing anything nuts. Kris, how'd the holidays treat you? How'd you get through the end of the year?
Pretty low key, man. It's been very low key. You know, it's definitely like, you know, when you move to a new place, you know, especially for me, you know, who is so heavily involved in music, it's like you want to go out and see shows, you want to meet people who are playing down here, you want to get integrated into that. And that's definitely been you know, tough not being able to kind of get immersed in that. But the holidays were low key, and everyone who I have met so far, which is, you know, pretty minimal human contact. I keep it pretty low key in that regard. You know, it's been great. It's been really nice. I look forward to a time when I'll be able to, you know, amp that up a little bit. I definitely wanted to take things a couple of gears down here, but it's a really stark contrast from going, you know, full throttle, you know, in the height of New York, commuting every day, everywhere, to sitting in my sweatpants.
Yeah, quite a crazy difference there.
Yeah. But we survived the holidays A-OK. Had a great New Year's Eve, had a charcuterie board.
Nice.
Mom hooked it up with the Dakin Farm delivery. That was clutch. So
nice.
Yeah, so it was good. How about you guys?
It was well, I work in service, so it was a shit show up here. That's all I got to say about the holidays.
You were working on New Year's Eve, or?
Yeah, I mean, I like only till 7-ish, but yeah, okay. We were working straight through. And yeah, it's been crazy. You know, it's retail food sales are way up because, you know, holiday, like, they're always big during the holidays, but now there's like not restaurants to go to. So yeah, you ran into the issue of Thanksgiving. Like, lo and behold, and I don't want to ruin any magic for our viewers out there, but a lot of people don't cook their own food on Thanksgiving. They go out to buffets. And when that's not happening, a lot of people think they have to buy a whole turkey for them and their wife and their 1 or 2 children. And so you end up with, like, you know, every group that should have bought 1 turkey between 10 people are now buying 1 turkey amongst 2 people. And so it ends up that, like, yeah, there was like a turkey shortage this year. because apparently people don't realize that you could just buy a turkey breast and just like
that was actually a tough thing for us. Was, you know, we were trying to find something to get that was not a whole turkey and like a sides for 10 because there's 2 of us, and it's like, you know, like, why are we still doing this if we shouldn't have 8 people in a house at all at this point right now? You know? So
I tried finding the turkey for 10 because that's how much I can eat.
Oh, man.
And then G-Dubs, how was yours New Year's? Was there fireworks in the big city down there?
There were some crackers going off.
Okay. It wasn't like the 4th of July where the whole night sky was lit up?
No, it wasn't that bad. I was
Kris, for you who might have missed it, we covered this actually back in July that Rutland was like a mini LA on the 4th of July. It was just blanketed in illegal fireworks as far as the eye could see.
Love to see it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was fun to look around. Like, I went outside for a cigarette. I'm just like, wow, I wish I was tripping balls right now.
The sky is on fire.
Why weren't you?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. There was a couple crackers going off, but nothing too big. I mean, I assume they were crackers. I do live in Rutland.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. No, I think I went to bed by 9 o'clock, which is late for me. Especially since quarantine. Like 7:45, I'm like, I'm ready for bed. I'm good.
I'm glad you stayed up late.
Yeah. Make sure the world comes completely to an end. I don't even remember what we watched. Clearly, it was that good. I think we watched some movie, and I probably dicked around on my phone. And then the next weekend, like that Friday and Saturday and Sunday, we watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which for me was a first time. I've yet to see those movies until this past weekend. And I want to say I'm glad I didn't watch them in the first place. They were boring as shit.
As the famous Randall Graves even said, even the fucking trees walk in those movies. Yeah, I have. I can't imagine. I have not. I've watched like 5 minutes of Lord of the Rings in my entire life. I've not been forced to.
And when Legolas comes out, ooh, it's a fucking Orlando Bloom and pointy Spock ears. Ooh, that makes my kitten moist.
It would have been better in the Pirates movies with the pointy ears, I think.
Yeah. At least that had Johnny Depp in it.
So next up on the subject or the list, we're going to talk about Facebook banned a group. Here, let me pull down the overlay and share this real quick. Facebook has banned a group lovingly referred to as "Joe Biden is not my president." Let me get back there. Okay,
oh, cool. We get the backstory here.
Groovy. Okay, so yeah, we have the news article up, and this is from the World Tribune. I don't know much about them, but we're going to pretend they're legitimate. It says, headline says, Facebook deletes record-breaking Joe Biden is not my president group. Similar anti-Trump groups still active. It said, without warning or explanation, a group named Joe Biden is not my president has been deleted from the social media platform, a report said. The group had more than 1.7 million members and was created on December 15th. The anti-Biden group set a Facebook record for the shortest amount of time to reach 1 million members, which is quite a few members for a Facebook group. Group's administrator said in a Parler post that we had no violations. Kris, you're familiar with Parler, right? Just to clarify.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so Parler's like it's like G-Dubs and I are both on. It gets skewed as like it's far right Twitter, and it's like well, everything's far right compared to Twitter. But yeah, it's just like it's like Twitter but with twice as many characters and actual free speech. But they like to blast on it. Anyways, so that's Parler. It's Twitter for conservatives.
Okay.
So while the anti-Biden group was removed after just 2 weeks, the quote, not my president, quote, anti-Trump group is still alive and cooking some 4 years later. So I just wanted to bring that up and see what you guys thought. It's The whole thing's fucking silly. I don't know why there's a news article on it, to be honest. But I just wanted to bring it by you guys, and like I thought it was funny. I laughed out loud. I was like, dude, Facebook's been deleting groups they don't like for 5 years now. Like, why are we still getting news articles about it?
Well, I think the big deal about it was the sheer size of it, that what happened. And then they deleted it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're back. And I got an invitation to the group, and I'm like, no, I don't need that on my record.
Like an actual, you got an actual invite to the group?
Yeah. Someone I know invited me to the group that was part of
incredible.
the group. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I had 25-day free trial, but that's
I was gonna say you could have infiltrated and been doing research for the show, G-Dubs. We need to know what's going on.
No. Like I wish it was salacious. Like I wish there was stuff like, yeah, we're gonna go down to DC and throw shit at the president, but it's not.
No, I assume it's pretty boring. Actually,
it is. It's a bunch of fucking crackers just sitting there going like, oh hey, I don't like the president. Ooh,
yeah.
I haven't liked the president since I was born. Like,
yeah, I would agree. I might have liked Obama for about 6 months until I realized it was fake.
Like I used to like Clinton, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know, this whole blowjob thing. Of course,
I found out that I didn't like Clinton. I just liked blowjobs, and I thought he was cool.
The president for you, Hickory.
That's right. Actually, we've decided, Chris, that we're probably going to run next run. And it'd be President Hickory, the Drunken Underwhelming. We're going to have Vice President G.W. Foley, Secretary of State Collen Doyle, and then we're just going to appoint random guests. So if you have a spot on our panel that you want, just let us know.
I have to say, having you and Collen on the same ticket would be a trip and a half, man. That would be fun.
It would be crazy, but we would bridge the aisle. And I think we could figure out a platform just on stuff we don't like.
I was going to say Collen was like my my ally here. He's left me. I'm paddling the boat now.
Yeah, we joke. So we did. This is go completely off topic, and that's totally fine. We did political compass tests earlier on in the summer for the show, and went through them. And it turns out that Collen came up left of Gandhi. And so like
that's what the joke was.
Yeah, that's the joke. So that's why he has the heart on his overlay. There was a show we did, a crossover show with Big Guys Entertainment, and we went on their show and they were on our show, right. And Collen couldn't get connected for whatever reason, so they just put a picture of Gandhi up in like the spot where his camera would be, and so that's been the joke ever since. Is that like, yeah, Collen's just left a Gandhi.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
But yeah, we it's fun. He's like the left wing side of the show, and then I feel like G-Dubs and I don't find ourselves as conservatives. We're just like we're politically homeless.
Yeah,
right.
Is how I view it. Is that neither of the parties do anything I want or have any of my interests in mind. None of them are constitutional. None of them are, like literally, I just want a party that's pro 1A and pro 2A. That's it. It's like, I want a party that embraces both. That's like, hey, these are the first two for a reason. And if you don't like it, fuck you, because everybody's aren't.
While I won't apologize for the left's severe shortcomings in a number of ways, particularly right now when the people really need Congress's help, I feel like my place sort of in the sphere is to work toward making the left a more progressive platform. So I think that there are probably a number of things that we will agree upon with that party for sure.
I would agree that both parties need a split right now. That's something I've
Totally.
been viewing, is that there's a populist right and a crony right, and there's a populist left and an establishment left. And they don't get along, but they work together. And that's happening on both sides. And if we had just divided it, I think, honestly, the populist left and the populist right would actually agree on more. And would be able to push back against the establishment that's actually in there.
Absolutely, for sure. And I think that's so obvious right now as to what's going on inside of the GOP with their senators. That's a rough situation.
Oh yeah, because there's it's two parties.
Yeah,
there's the establishment GOP that's been there and has always been there, and Turtle Man and Lindsey Graham and all them. And then you've got the more populists, the new MAGA right, which is
Turtle Man and Graham.
Turtle Man and Graham. Two of the main reasons I can't say that I am a Republican is because people like that are in the party.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Hickory.
On the flip side, I couldn't call myself a Democrat because Pelosi is still in there and Schumer's still there, and it's a shit show.
We are in agreement on that.
And it's a weird space where they just voted Nancy Pelosi back as Speaker of the House, and I'm like, that single vote alone proved how out of touch they are with the American people.
And I mean, these are career politicians.
Yeah, not even
what it is.
I mean, not a single lefty friend of mine that I've ever talked to, and I have a lot of them. I work in Woodstock. It is. I often joke that. The old school stand-up joke I used to do was I'm in this weird position where I hang out with my friends, and I'm kind of like the. Sorry, I messed that up. So I hang out with family, and I'm like the Joe Rogan character. I'm very in the middle, and I'm always well, what do you think about this? Where are you targeting your argument from? And then I go hang out with my friends, and I'm fucking Alex Jones. and they're just he keeps screaming about turning the frogs gay. It's no, it's just because I don't agree. But yeah, that's not to get too bogged down into politics, but I would agree that there is a need for a split, and both parties are garbage. That is my takeaway from there. G-Dubs, anything you want to get off your chest before we move into the next? It's going to be fun. The next topic's fun.
Let's go to the next topic.
Okay, next topic. We're going to talk about a Twitch streamer who I found out about this morning. This is great. Her name was Misbehaved. Not misbehaved, but
that's a great name.
Which is phenomenal.
A great stage name,
yeah. If I was a chick magician, I wish I had come along that because, that would have been great.
As a male comic, I'm glad I came across that.
I'm pretty glad I got to see this video myself. But basically, so what had happened is that this lady Twitch streamer thought she had ended her Twitch stream and thought she had started her stream for her adult content. I don't know if it was an OnlyFans or a ChatterBait or one of the other websites that I would never visit because I'm a very happily married guy. And she happened to just fully expose everything right there on Twitch, which wasn't necessarily the main issue because Twitch has had many of these events over the past couple of years where there's been a slip here and there. But no, this was a full on, there was no accidental, right, G-Dubs? There's nothing accidental about this video. No, it was
that was I went to prison and you're now checking for foreign objects inside my hoo-ha.
Yes, there was that type of position that she took. So the other issue was not that necessarily that this girl decided that was a good time to do this. It was that she only got banned for 3 days. Now there was another gentleman recently banned from Twitch, banned for an entire 7 days. Chris, would you like to take a guess as to what the offense that he got banned for 7 days? So 3 days, you got a whole area.
Ooh, literally.
What would possibly get banned for 7 days for?
He must have just talked shit on somebody and
Oh,
pissed
yeah.
the wrong person off, right?
Dude, you're very, very close. He used the word simp,
Ah,
which apparently is very much against Twitch policy because they don't want to alienate their base.
mhm.
So you can't use words like simp or virgin on Twitch anymore. So yeah, he got banned for 7 days. Meanwhile, she got banned for 3. I honestly think they should just start adults Twitch. I think that's the solution for me personally, is that we just get we get like a live streaming game app where you are allowed to show your hoo-ha. G-Dubs, what do you think?
I'm a fan of adult Twitch. I wonder what they'd call it, like fast Twitch.
Well, you have fast Twitch and slow Twitch.
Yeah.
Whichever floats your boat.
So would those both be on adult? One would be like the hardcore and the softcore, like the slow Twitch just to like get the mood right, and then the fast Twitch take care of business.
Slow Twitch would be like Skinemax, like where like the softcore porn where there's storyline involved. And fast Twitch would just be like you're trying to get down and dirty in a hurry because you have like church group in 15 minutes.
Agreed. Chris, what do you think? You think we should have adult gaming websites so we're not?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, what you did was a violation of terms of service, I guess, right? That's sort of the whole issue, or.
Yeah, and there's also this side issue that I keep seeing people bring up online, and I don't know if this is like just something people are talking about, but the fact that Twitch is literally a gaming site, like it's meant for. Twitch is one of the few social medias that is not specifically targeted towards adults.
Right. Although they've expanded it to live music now too. I know.
Yep, and they have wrestling on there too.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Shout out to John Spohr. He's been a part of that, and he was actually working with. Which, if you're seeing this, John, get back to me because we want you on the damn show. I would love to hear you talk about beating people up because that's fun. But they did. What's his G-Dubs? What's that? The name of the wrestler that Spohr worked with for that? The House of Hardcore. Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Tommy Dreamer started a promotion called House of Hardcore, and they were doing their shows on Twitch. Right. And that was like almost a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
I was talking about Vic Delicious, and I'm like, how do you know about Vic? Because John worked Vic at House of Hardcore. Like,
oh, okay.
Like literally, like they went in the ring together.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, like, how? Like, this is a weird conversation to bring into Chris, who I don't know Chris, but he doesn't really look like the wrestling fan.
Oh, what you wouldn't know is that Chris was a very big wrestling fan back in the day, much as I was.
I was a huge wrestling fan in WWF era.
Yep.
Basically, the entire 90s into the early 2000s of WWF to me is like unfuckwithable. It's so good. Like basically up until Stone Cold and The Rock retired, like I watched. When those guys retired, I stopped, and I have a number of friends who are huge WWE fans, but I just haven't been able to connect with the characters and the story really since. Like, I feel like those two guys were like just such unbelievable showmen, you know? Yeah. But no, yeah, huge. Hickory and I used to like recount Monday Night Raw on Tuesday mornings at school all the time.
Yeah, I remember.
What I would do, it was VCR days, GW. I would put the VCR in, and it would record. How would I do it? I think I would record the first hour of Nitro, of WCW Nitro, and then I would record the whole Raw, because Raw was 2 hours and Nitro was 3, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they went back and forth a little bit back in the day. Was the deal that like, one was always going to 3 hours and one was 2, and
yeah. But they were both very good at that time.
Yeah, I remember playing a lot of, or We used to play a lot as the Godfather. Because the Ho Train always gets me.
Oh, the
It still gets me.
Godfather. Yeah, the Godfather. Man, he was a
Train.
great character, but he probably would not fly today. They probably couldn't do the Godfather today.
No,
He still performs as the
yeah?
Godfather. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He has less hoes than he used to. But yeah, that's like when you book him, that's the main one that he does is the Godfather.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad
What
to
other
hear that.
characters does he do?
He did Papa Shango
Right.
with the skull face
Yeah.
paint
Yep.
and the matches.
I forgot he was the same guy. How did I forget that?
He was Kamala the Ultimate Fighter
That's right.
for a while. And then he went to Kamala the Godfather. He also was the Good Father, which
I remember the Good Father. He had like,
he was like
a tie.
yeah.
it was like all white, right? Was the,
Yeah.
like the whole suit was white, and it was all
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
it was like when they tried to introduce the like the white godly version of Gangrel. I forget what that dude's name was,
Oh,
but he was
Mordecai.
like in the Mordecai.
Yes.
Yep, in the full white, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're gonna take this heel and turn him into a super baby face."
I'm so happy this turned into a wrestling discussion. This is great.
Anytime you want to come back and discuss wrestling, GW and I, actually, we could bring Pierre on. It would be
Yeah.
great. We're gonna have both you guys on. I don't know if you know Pierre. So he's a good friend of ours. He's on the show regular. He's a guy named Pierre Vachon, and he grew up in the Vachon family. Who I don't know if you remember Luna Vachon from back in like that. Yeah, that's his sister. So
Wow.
they are. He is wrestling royalty as far as we're
That's so
concerned.
cool.
But before COVID, back in the BC, he books shows down in Middlebury, Vermont, at a place called the Marquee, and so we'd work together all the time and I was going down there at least 2 to 3 times a year. GW was down there regularly, but yeah, he and it's fun because he'll get him on the show and we'll just start prodding for road stories, and he'll come up with
Very cool.
stories about sitting in the back room with the Ultimate Warrior, like all sorts of random fun wrestling stories.
One of the funnest shows that I've ever been to for wrestling, I went with Pierre because he was wrestling, and I went to watch his show and help sell his merch for him. And oh man, it was so much fun because like my good friend is wrestling. And I was just like, this is awesome.
It's got to be the best. Yeah, totally.
I had a
Hickory,
great moment.
Before we run out of time, I got to hear this Christmas tree thing, man.
Okay, we will get there in just a sec. Actually,
All right.
I was thinking about that. One of the better wrestling events we've been to was John Sport was wrestling, and we had a great show. Mikey Cheese was there, and like Robbie E and a bunch of old WWE guys. It was super fun. It's really cool watching your friend get the shit kicked out of him in a squared circle.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's a thing I have always wished I could do, but I no nearly have the balls to actually get into it. Like
it is. I have a friend who's her husband does it professionally, and I mean it's just such an unbelievable amount of work. It's literally like everything you do has to be pertaining to your training, whether it be for strength or whether it be for performance or footwork or it's just on, or appearance, or on and on and on. It's just like
it's absolutely incredible. But good segue, Chris. We'll get right into the last story. Let me pull this bad boy up. So it seems, my friends, that and that one. I keep checking it. I know this article is very, very distracting because of something right down here.
Well,
maybe
that's sponsored. That makes sense.
But the caption also says this photo has not been edited. Look closer.
We have looked closer, and we
know.
did not see any editing.
Yeah, I'm going to need a bigger monitor to be sure.
Oh, this is from the New York Post. This is going to be gold.
This is the New York Post. There was a bunch of different people wrote articles on this, and to be honest, this was the first name that I was like, okay, nope, they're at least the mainstream considers them reputable. So this article is from January 3rd. It says an inflatable Christmas costume may have spread COVID-19 at hospital. Oh, god damn. So instead of spreading Christmas cheer, an inflatable holiday costume may have helped spread COVID-19 to dozens of staffers at a California hospital, according to a report. 43 employees at Kaiser Permanente San Jose Medical Center contracted the virus between December 27th and New Year's Day. And officials say the outbreak may be tied to an employee who entered the facility wearing a, quote, air-powered costume on Christmas Day, according to San Francisco Chronicle. So I'll stop there and ask you guys what you're thinking on this whole thing. My first thought was we have a viral outbreak that spreads through your breath, and somebody at a hospital let this asshat walk in an inflatable costume. Like, what the what do you guys think about that? You think this is craziness?
That's a perplexing one for sure.
I'm like, what better way to just spread your air around?
That's an oversight.
Which raises all sorts of other questions too. Like, was this dude wearing a mask inside the costume?
Right.
I would assume he'd have to be if he was at a hospital.
Well, no, because he was in the costume and that has a mask portion.
That's a great point. Maybe he just has a smokestack that comes out the back, and that's where the COVID spray comes from. I don't know. Saying the hospital's investigating the possibility that the fan on the costume spread airborne respiratory droplets exhaled by a person infected with the virus through the emergency department, because there wasn't a better place for that. Any exposure, if it occurred, would have been completely innocent and quite accidental, as the individual had no COVID symptoms and only sought to lift the spirits of those around them during what is a very stressful time. Irene Chavez, senior vice president and area manager of the center, told the newspaper. So she was defending the guy. That's good. If anything, this should serve as a very real reminder that the virus is widespread and often without symptoms, and we must all be vigilant, Chavez says. The doctors, nurses, technicians, and assistants who tested positive for COVID-19 over the past week will now isolate while officials conduct contact tracing and staff members deep clean the hospital's emergency department, officials said. Blow-up costumes are now, quote, obviously, unquote, banned from the healthcare facility, Chavez said. Some 40,000 Kaiser Permanente health workers in California have already been inoculated against the deadly virus. I hate that. But it's very unclear if any of the infected workers were among those vaccinated, according to the report. It's also unclear of what type of inflatable costume the staffer was wearing. Although I've heard reports that it was a Christmas tree, which is a very nice costume to be wearing.
So what was the main take from this? How did it happen?
A staff that worked at the hospital in the emergency room wore an inflatable Christmas tree to try to bring cheer to the people that were visiting the emergency room on Christmas, and ended up possibly spreading around COVID.
Do you think that person blew the costume up themselves?
No, I think have you seen the dinosaur ones?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they were like a big deal to Halloween. Well, the last real Halloween we had. So they have like a fan running in the costume that keeps it constantly pressurized. So there's like little holes.
Terrible. I know exactly what you're talking about now. Oh,
so it's imagine the wacky inflatable guy, but like a guy wearing that around. So now you've got a portable super spreader fan just blowing your breath air.
The amount of sort of just, I don't know whether it's oversight, let's just say, whether it be deliberate or accidental, is sort of mind-blowing to me now that we really know, we're very acutely aware of how this spreads, right? Yet, you'll have people who will put a mask on traveling everywhere, and then they will sit down at a table with 6 other people and all take them off and eat and talk at each other. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, It's like, put two and two together, man. Like,
the incredible lack of consistency is incredible.
It's hard to put together, man. It really is
hard to comprehend. G-Dubs, what do you think about inflatable costumes during a pandemic?
I think it's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, let's kill some more innocent people, you know? Like, and I want to know about the guy. Like, so clearly he didn't have COVID when he went into the hospital, but he went through the emergency room where, like, I don't know. Every time I go to an emergency room, I'm not looking for Christmas cheer. I'm looking to get in and out as fast as possible. It's like, oh, my finger got cut off. Quick, sew it back on. Like, I don't need a dancing Christmas tree in my face going, hey. Like, I'm also, like, I hate mascots in general. Like, never take me to Walt Disney World. Because, like, all the people in costumes freak me the fuck out. So, like, I can imagine me just wanting to punch a guy in a dancing tree that just, no, like just smack. So, what do you think about it, Chris? What's your feelings on inflatable costumes?
Do I have to have an opinion on inflatable costumes?
Absolutely. It's America. You need to have an opinion whether you have researched it or not.
I love it. I love it. Yes, very, very true. Very, very astute, GW. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see. I don't see taking any. You know, even though the person who was in there works there, I don't really see any extra human contact in that environment is largely unnecessary right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna say no to the inflatable costumes, man. This ruined inflatable costumes for me forever. That's it.
I don't know. I could see me getting a little kinky with the missus and throwing one on.
Well, hey, in the safety of your own home, understandable, GW.
And I love the fact that Hickory has no idea what we were talking about.
No, but just a good one, Hickory.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The show must go on, my friend.
That's right. I figured I left it in capable hands.
I saw you get up, and I was just like, "Oh shit! I need to take over hosting duties. I haven't hosted in forever."
Oh, sorry, G-Dubs. I didn't mean to do that to you, but you guys were in the middle of a run, and I was about to wet myself. So I decided. So yeah, the Christmas tree was pretty much the end. We're about 8 minutes over, but I figured the last subject I want to touch on real quick, if you guys have a minute, it was just if anything, any piece of hope or aspiration you guys have for 2021 that hasn't just been stomped out by this shitty year. Like I'd like to, even if I had to perform in a plexiglass cage, like I was a dancer in a gross bar, I'd like to perform in front of a group of people this year. That's one of my hopes and aspirations. I figured you guys might have one or two that you'd want to share.
Go ahead, GW.
I hope I get a paying job. Like being a college student's fun and all, but yeah, I need money.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's a necessary evil, man.
And stand-up just doesn't bring in the cash like it used to.
Are you telling me stand-up doesn't pay the bills? I'm shocked.
I know, right?
Well, especially now when you can only get 8 people in a club, and they're all. It's a real hard laugh track to perform for when it's like 3 people, just like.
You had to paper half the room.
Yeah, just the one guy with the slow clap. Yeah, that's rough going, man, for you guys. But
yeah, it's rough going for everybody. But
yeah, I'll piggyback on that, and I'll say that you know, from the performance thing, Hickory, like, you know, to me, I just hope that I'm able to at some point before the end of the year see my friends and family in the Northeast, and then I'm able to play some music in the same room with people who I play music with.
I hear that.
Because there's definitely, an intangible there when you're working with other people that, we do it the best we can virtually, but there's just a little bit of magic that's not quite in the recipe,
Yeah, that human connection is a huge aspect, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, I was actually talking with a friend of mine before I got on the show, and they were saying the same thing. It was just like, you go to a show, whether it be comedy or music, you go to a show, but it's like, and you go for the performers, but you go for the hang. You go to meet people, you go to see people who are part of the scene. Like, missing that is just a super drag.
Yeah.
That's what I miss, and I have hope that by the end of the year we can recapture some of that magic somehow.
So I'll ask you one quick question as a music professional specific question. If you guys do like Zoom meetings, have you figured out how to jam on there, or how? Because like we noticed, and we've been doing this show since April, and we had a real hard time reading each other, and like that took us like 3 months before we were finally like comfortable enough that we could just like go back and forth without walking over other people. And
so the main thing about that is my main profession is I teach, and and it's all virtual teaching at this point, and that is totally fine. And in fact, it can actually help some people focus, because it's like the camera's on, it's go time. It's not so much like I come over to your house and we hang out and play guitar a little bit. Like, it's a little bit more technique oriented, which could be really helpful to some people. But the one thing that you can't do is you can't simultaneously jam together while being able to hear what is going on properly with the other person. You can do it to an extent. Like, I can play along with people and I'll sort of have the information coming in and out of my ear, and I can follow visually what they're doing, but you don't have that simultaneous intangible thing. You don't have the give and take. And I did some research on this, and I actually learned that apparently it's how the internet like works in terms of packet delivery. I don't understand how this stuff, what that means. All I know is that they would literally have to like they'd have to redo the internet to make it work.
Okay. Yeah, because it would have to be like instantaneous.
Right.
Like, exactly. It would have to be zero delay, zero.
And it would have to be like, remember when you had your old phone that plugged into the wall and you could talk over each other and it was totally fine? And if you do that on a cell phone, it like doesn't work. Like, you can't, like, you cut the other person off. That's the thing that's missing.
So hopefully someday there'll be a software that will allow that, and somebody will have figured it out, and you'll be able to. We need the packets are the issue, right? So
we need a genius packet manipulator.
I'll get right on that.
Looking at you, GW.
Yeah, GW's changing his degree now. He's going to be a packet manipulator.
I mean, it's what I was doing through puberty.
He's been manipulating his packet for years. Expert packet manipulator. Just need the degree, because for some reason that piece of paper matters. Anyways, before we get out of here, is there anything you guys want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Yeah, this is wrong.
Oh, it's supposed to be a Foley kills. I suck at this, GW. I'm really sorry. You know, the beauty is by next week, a lot of these will be better. Thanks for everybody for putting up with my overlays and me figuring it out. Yeah, it's at Foley Kills. So please do not follow him at GW Foley.
I wonder who that is.
Oh, was it right on? I'm trying to.
It was
no, I don't think it wasn't right on any of them. Nope, not on these ones. I'm. Oh God, that's
now I'm gonna look up who that person is.
I'm curious. Maybe I should do this as well. We can screen share it real quick before we go.
It's gonna be like some dude in Brazil with like 4 followers.
George Washington University came up.
Guy Foley, Tunbridge Wells. He has 2 following, or he's following 2 people and has 0 followers.
Oh, we should get him on the show.
Yeah, send him a booking request. I'll have my people get in touch with his people.
Like, if you look, he doesn't even have a profile picture.
Jesus. And this guy gets like 40 follows overnight. He has no idea what's going on.
You're welcome, Guy Foley.
Yeah, thank you. The original at GW Foley. But if you want to follow GW, follow him at Foley Kills on Facebook and Instagram and Parler, and add him on Facebook on his regular profile, and he will become your friend. Did I miss any plugs there, G-Dubs?
That's perfect.
Parler,
yes,
Instagram.
Follow me here.
Yep, right, that one at Foley Kills. That in the upper right hand corner should say Foley Kills, but I'm all.
And it has my face on it.
Yeah. Well, at least your overlay just says GW Foley. It doesn't have an @ there, so that works. Anyways, Kris, plugs? Any socials for our followers?
Yeah.
If they wanna...
It says it. Wait, or is it? There it is. It says it right there. Yeah. Instagram's probably the best one. Hayes Ways. I'm most active on that. I have a Twitter, but I mostly just like retweet about New York Giants stuff, which has been active in the last 24 hours. So yeah, nothing too interesting on Twitter, but it is this. I think it's the same handle on Twitter. But yeah, pretty much on Instagram, I just talk about records, and I post records and guitars, and that's what I like to do. So if you want to talk about gear or records, that's.
Or if you just want to go look at pictures of pretty guitars,
yeah, there's a few.
Ways In is a great spot to go check out some pretty guitars. And check out some comparison videos or comparison shots where he. That was one of my faves, actually. I think it was like a 2015 or 2020 or 20.
Yeah, it was like my whole new lineup. It was like, this is my lineup 5 years ago. I sold them all, and now I got a whole bunch of. That's how I'm a buy sell trade lunatic. Though I have slowed down quite a bit over the years as responsibilities have presented themselves. But yeah, I do lessons, guitar based audio production. If I mix records, I master for vinyl.
And we still haven't even scratched the surface on the credentials of Mr. Hayes. So we'll have to have
a one-trick pony, really. It's just
well, it's like 40 different things, but they're all wrapped around this one thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like understood. Sir, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
We would love to have you back.
Most definitely.
Maybe Collen. We'll get like a I don't know, some type of. We'll figure out something to battle on, and we'll have a competition or something on the show.
Maybe Collen will get his act together and stay for the whole hour.
I'd say he's here for more of them than he isn't. No, he's been really great. But he actually travels between New York City and Vermont.
Yeah.
So he's.
I wasn't sure if he was still doing that, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. Still doing the acting thing. So yeah, we would love to have you back, Kris. I'll be in touch with you in the next little while about that, because
all right, guys,
that'd be fun if you're willing to come back on and subject yourself to this sort of madness. We'd love to have you back on. It's great to have somebody who puts in a different perspective than like most of the Vermont people that we've had. So thank you for being here. Anyways, that's all we got for this week, guys. Thank you for joining us for week 37. Next episode is next week at Monday at 6. We're back on. We're now live streaming on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch on YouTube on your TV, you can do that. We are also live streaming on Woolen Mill page and my page. And yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Drunken Under Quarantine Show, episode 37, featuring Kris Hayes, presented to you by Woolen Mill Comedy Club. I am Hickory, the Drunken Underwhelming. Cheers to you guys. A little space metal dinosaur. Because what better? Anyways, I'm Edgar the Drunken Underwhelming. I hope you guys all remember to stay drunk, stay safe, stay underwhelming. Most importantly, stay fucking sane, because it's been really hard last year. Hopefully it gets better this year, and we'll see you guys next week.